not for sure why people actually need to package it in order to get their media, because really, to be honest with you, if the information that you're getting has to be packaged in a certain way, don't you just trust it? I mean, don't you automatically say, hey, hold the fuck on, you know, why do you feel like I need to know this in this certain way? Why you tell me directly about all the bloodshed and fucking, you know, street violence, but you don't tell me about the crimes of our public officials? So, the problems with the FBI coming into Kentucky and arresting Kentucky anonymous Deric Lostutter is a bunch of bullshit, right? It's total fucking bullshit. So, like, in 2012, in April, you got these 12 SWAT guys just, you know, surround this fucking hacker, this fucking, you know, not even a hacker. I didn't want to say that. He calls himself anonymous, but he says that he's a IT specialist, that he protects in. He can help people with their internet security. And so that's, you know, he's got like a regular job. If you watch him, you know, he's got some skills. He can be able to put together a rap and a rhyme. But really, he seems like harmless. He's fucking harmless. Deric Lostutter is anybody. That could have been any person out there. And all he did was manipulate, you know, some things and able to get some more attention on a news story. He didn't commit the crime of hacking, so there was no computer crimes. All he did was just kind of pass the information along. So that's Deric Lostutter. He's getting all that shit right now, and because the FBI was involved in it, it's made me think about all the things that the FBI has been involved with. Tim Conley, they arrested him because they said that he was using the tornado funds improperly, was given to some of his buddies and shit. So spoil system, you know, corruption of ethics, just the same thing as Richie Farmer or Ernie Fletcher. Richie Farmer too, but Ernie Fletcher, he had got some ethics fucking violations because he helped some of his buddies get some jobs and shit. Richie Farmer got his buddies some job. Why is there so much corruption in Kentucky? Like, this is so fucking ridiculous. You know, we just keep on electing these assholes. They elect their fucking buddies, and there somebody else calls them out on it, and then they get, you know, it's just basically just, it's a revolving door. So I guess that's good. There's revolutions that's happen all the time in Kentucky, but is there any real strong leadership, you know? I believe that we need a strong governor, because really Frankfurt's irrelevant, you know? They're not going to, what are they going to fucking do? They're going to wait around until Obama passes another stimulus and they'll pay their bills. Until then, they ain't going to pay nothing. They're barely legalizing hemp. I mean, seriously, we should have nationalized coal. We should have legalized marijuana, and we should have a constitutional convention. There's so many fucking things that we could also have invest in our own professional sports team, right? Have the fucking Kentucky, I don't know, Bluegrassers, the fucking Kentucky Tokers, the fucking Moonshiners, the, you know, the Bushwhackers, you know, the fucking Bushwhackers, the Kentucky Bushwhackers. There's a fucking professional team. Retain our fucking basketball talent so that way they don't have to get into government and become fucking corrupt. Once he stepped down out of the fucking office, he applied for unemployment benefits. So Richie Farmer's like, hey, I'm not agricultural commission anymore. Can I get some unemployment benefits? So he really liked being on the dole. He just really liked that government money. But seriously, why did, you know, that had happened just recently. Operation Bob Trot was in 1992. So we know that there was ethics violations there. So clearly the ethics commission, they keep on hitting these motherfuckers. I guess they're doing their job. But what is it inherent about the system? Is it inherent about human nature that people are corrupt, and when they get into positions of power, they're just going to start stealing from other motherfuckers? So, to finish up with the pieces of information I have, Operation Bob Trot. So, the entire operation was accomplished for only $15,000 in undercover money. So Operation Bob Trot was real fucking successful. It cost very little bit of money for the FBI. They was able to get over a dozen people. It had to do with gaming. It had to do with the horse industry. So that's still, you know, Churchill Downs, the casino, the gambling thing. That was a big fucking thing with Brashear when he first came in. And we haven't got the vote on it. We haven't had shit, you know. They haven't put anything to us to see what it is we want and what we don't want. Although corruption in the state government is not exactly unheard of to Kentuckians, many were impressed by just how much bang one could get for a buck. $400, that's not a bribe, it's a tip, said one local attorney. Bob Trot began as an undercover sting operation in September 1990, but went public with a bang on March 31st last year, 1992, when the marble halls of the state capitol echoed with the footsteps of 36 FBI agents who fanned through the building, passing out subpoenas and interviewing white-faced legislators. So that's, you know, the FBI, they're fucking wolf packing, right? They're sitting there collecting all this information, that information, but when they're ready to fucking drop down and get the hit, they drop down like 36. So that's 36 motherfucking FBI agents, and they said $15,000 what the investigation cost, I'm doubtful. But I mean, I guess maybe that was just their day's pay. And so then they're passing out subpoenas, and then they had a fucking 1-800 number for anybody who wants to call for the whistleblowers to give them a call. And everybody that was indicted, all of them except for 2, had pled guilty, including Blandford. Blandford wanted to fight the shit since he was the fucking House Speaker. He didn't really have much of a choice. The trouble started with the legislative tip between the respective partisans of Kentucky's beleaguered harness racing industry and its more popular rival, the thoroughbred racers. To bolster the racing industry as a whole, the legislature had passed a law instituting inter-track wagering, in which a track can receive telecasts and accept wagers on races at other tracks. In awarding inter-track wagering dates, however, the State Racing Commission snubbed Riverside Downs, a harness racing track in Henderson, Kentucky, in favor of crosstown thoroughbred rival Ellis Park. Subsequently, Riverside Downs owner M.I. Vaughn was approached by lame duck Senator Helen Garrett, who told Vaughn the problem could be fixed for $2,000. Helen, I guess that's a woman, Senator Helen Garrett. And then M.I. Vaughn contacts the FBI, agreed to cooperate in passing an undercover bribe to Senator Helen Garrett, who has since pled guilty. After the first bribe changed hands, more legislators fell as they were snared, accepting money to influence racing legislation, and then persuaded to cooperate with the FBI in exchange for leniency. So they just kept getting one person after another. Once they got one else, you got somebody else. Decades-long friendships were shattered as colleagues drew colleagues into the net. There were trips to Florida and parties in Las Vegas where legislators were handed gambling money on behalf of Riverside, and there were hidden microphones, hidden cameras, and wiretaps. So you got Riverside, right? The fucking Riverside Downs is trying to get people bowled over in order to get them. They felt like they was being snubbed, and they could have been. So I mean, what do you do when they're snubbed? I guess you have to file charges against those who snubbing you. So after the first bribe changed hands, more legislators fell as they were snared accepting money decades long. So there's hidden microphones, hidden cameras, wiretaps. Look at the means that the FBI has in order to get Operation Bobtrot. They're doing all the same shit that, you know, they're doing worse. They're doing worse than what Deric Lostutter did. What Kentucky Anonymous did was not a crime. He just passed on the information that he had, and he got the media to talk about it by issuing a threat. If you don't do as I say, I'm going to publish all your social security numbers. I'm going to publish, we got a short list, we're going to expose every one of you all. And so he just got the fucking media's attention on the thing and was able to get, you know, the pressure in order to get the convictions. So there is no crime. There's no fucking crime at all. The computer crimes is too fucking vague, and then the identity, thieving identity, he's not trying to be another fucking person. That's not what he was doing at all. So, you know, for them to be able to say anything like that, these motherfuckers are setting up bribes. They got hidden microphones, hidden cameras, wiretaps, you know, on fucking phones. They're tapping emails, tapping cell phones, and they're also had helicopters. Operation Bobtrot, you saw surveillance coming from helicopters. So the FBI was, you know, they got a lick, right? They saw some fucking corrupt bastards. Let's put all of our fucking money in on this, and let's get these bastards. It was 1992 also, so, you know, that was just when the turnover from Republican to Democrat. So maybe that's what it is. The new guard had to get out some of the trash. So Frankfurt's buzzing with stories about videotapes made in the hotel condominium of prominent Kentucky and Washington lobbyist Jay Spurrier, where many of the stings were made. Although the FBI has insisted there is no heavy sex, rumors persist that call girls were brought in for additional attitude adjustment. So you don't want to accept our bride? Well, how about this big-titted woman here? Well, if I have to have sex with a big-titted woman, you know, then that's just what I have to do. And let's see. So 1.5 years, the FBI's creeping around Frankfurt. Now they wiretapping people, using surveillance, hidden cameras, hidden audio recording devices. They're secretly doctoring $20 bills with fluorescent power. They're taping them. The surveillance airplanes. Similar sting operations have gone in California, Arizona, South Carolina. So the FBI is doing this all, you know, across America. Here the FBI targeted lawmakers who are willing to be bribed for their influence in helping the troubled harness track compete against a rival thoroughbred track for more gambling opportunities. So that's kind of sad for Riverside, who was just trying to get more political flack into the fucking industry, which had fucking snubbed it, right? They're allowing one fucking track to get gambling, but not another one. Or, I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Why is one allowed, not the other? Should be, you know, passing laws for everybody. Bop and Bop Trot comes from Business Organizations and Professions Committee, and then Trot comes from the trots and the harness racing, right? Is the fucking referred to trots as harness racing is known, trotting around the fucking horses trot, right? It happened in Kentucky. Public outcry from Operation Bop Trot led to several successive ethics investigations. Among these were the 1993 trial of a former state auditor turned lobbyist, George Atkins, accused of paying a state legislator $10,000 in exchange for a crucial vote on a bill to allow Humana, the national medical insurance conglomerate, to expand operations at Louisville corporate headquarters. Additionally, a member of the Senate Banking Committee was convicted of conspiracy, attempted extortion for trying to recoup money he said was promised for his vote in the 1984 bill loosening state banking regulations. Humana was like fined for, you know, sending out disinformation about Obamacare too. Well, I mean, Humana is the biggest fucking employer like in Louisville, so that's why they kiss their fucking ass. But they're a goddamn insurance company. Of course they're gonna go around fucking people over. Big fucking surprise. Yeah, they paid some state legislator $10,000 for a crucial vote. George Atkins, right? Bop Trot crackdown even led a federal grand jury to investigate 1994 allegations that federal mine inspectors solicited bribes from Eastern Kentucky coal operations. So, you know, fucking coal companies are paying the fucking bills. Of course, King Coal's in on it. Of course, the fucking horse racing, the gambling, you know, lobby. The time the prosecutors officially ended Operation Bop Trot in 95, General Assembly adopted a stringent ethics restrictions and campaign finance reforms. Today, Kentucky horses and racing are still synonymous, but one hopes Operation Bop Trot closed the chapter on payoffs and bribes. So, real quick, the crimes that have been committed against Deric Lostutter, like low stutter, right? So Deric Lostutter, who's Kentucky Anonymous, he's possibly going to be indicted by a grand jury, but he has to be indicted by a grand jury. He was, you know, arrested for 3 hours. Let's see. So the crimes, they all bust out, right? You got 12 FBI agents that just fucking jump him with M16. So pointing out these fucking guns, unnecessary, you know, ridiculous. He's cuffed, interrogated for about 3 hours along with his brother and his girlfriend, so they're fucking with everybody. They didn't read any Miranda rights. They didn't give the names or badge numbers, so they're walked off, you know, not knowing who these so-called public officials are. And then it took about a month for them to be able to get their fucking belongings back. So it goes against the Fourth Amendment rights. This is all according to Mr. Kentucky Anonymous himself, Deric Lostutter, but the Fourth Amendment says no search and seizure, and so he says that they're in violation of it. I was looking at Kentucky's Constitution, and I found out that they're in violation of way more than just a Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. So Kentucky's Bill of Rights expands our freedoms, and so Section 2, Section 4, Section 8, Section 9, Section 10, Section 12, and Section 22 are violated. Deric Lostutter's rights are violated by the FBI in this Steubenville rape alleged hack, which I don't even know what the fuck, like, they're just basically, there's harassment. The fucking FBI is guilty of harassment and malicious prosecution. So, Section 1, the rights of life, liberty, worship, pursuit of safetyness and happiness, free speech, freedom to speak. You're allowed to talk about, you know, somebody fucking raping somebody else. You got a piece of information. You're allowed to pass that piece of information along. Acquiring and protecting property. That is your property. You're allowed to pass it along if you want to. Peacefully assemble redress agreements, bearing arms. Section 2, you have no right to absolute and arbitrary power over the lives, liberty, and property of free men. It exists nowhere. So no absolute and arbitrary power at all, not even in the majority. So the FBI, you can't just go around fucking picking on anybody you want to pick on. Section 4, powers inherent in the people for safety, peace, happiness, and the protection of property. The people have at all times an inalienable and indefeasible right to alter, reform, or abolish their government in such manner as they may deem proper. So he's protected by Section 4 of Kentucky's Constitution. Freedom of speech and of the press. Printing presses shall be free to everybody. Every person may speak freely, write and print on any subject. That's Section 8. Section 9, truth must be given in evidence of prosecution. So that you have to have a grand jury indictment before you can make an arrest. They didn't do that. 12, indictable offenses not to be prosecuted by information. That's actually the one I was talking about. So Section 10, is something a little different. Security from search and seizure, conditions of issuance and warrants. So people shall be secure in their persons, houses, paper, and possessions from unreasonable search and seizure. No warrant shall issue to search any place or seize any person or thing without describing them as nearly as may be, nor without probable cause supported by oath or affirmation. You got to have a judge sign off on a warrant, and they got to say exactly what it is that they're taking. It seems like the FBI agents are just taking every goddamn thing, so they're not specifying what it is that they're trying to take. And also Section 22 says no standing armies, which the FBI is guilty of. They're a standing army. So